Well, what's up, everyone? If you don't know who I am, my name is Logan, and I'm so excited to be giving you the message today. We are continuing in our parables series. This is week 3. Week 1, we talked about being salt of the earth. Last week, we talked about being light of the world. And today, we'll be talking about a parable with the 3 servants. So, you know what? I don't want to waste any time. I want to just jump in right into the parable of the 3 servants. And we're going to be diving into Matthew 25, starting at verse 14. And this is what it says. It says this. It says, "Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportion to their abilities. He then left on his trip. The servant who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. The servant with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the servant who received the 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money." Now, this is a long story, so I'm going to kind of paraphrase the rest of the story. So eventually the master returns, and the master checks up on his money, sees what the servants did with his money. And so the servant, again, to recap, with the 5 bags, received 5 more. So everyone say, 5 got 5. Good. The second servant that had 2 bags of silver worked, invested, and gained another 2 bags. So someone say 2 got 2. And lastly, the one that just got 1 bag of silver hid the bag and didn't make any more money. So someone say 1 got none. 1 got none. So the master returns and sees what they did. The first servant with the 5 bags say, "Master, I got the 5 bags. And I actually got you 5 more." The master was happy. He said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Then the second servant with the 2 bags said, "Master, I got 2 bags, and I worked hard and I got you another 2 bags." And the master was happy and said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And the last servant, again with the 1 bag that didn't do anything with the money, went up to the master and said, "Hey, look, master, I was afraid I was going to mess up or lose your money, so I dug it in a hole, and I left it there. But here's your 1 bag." The master looked disappointed and said, "My wicked and lazy servant. I mean, at least put it in the bank so you could have gained something out of my money." And the master was not happy with that servant. Moral of the story is that we should use what we are given. Now, this story is one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite parables in the Bible, because it really illustrates our relationship that we have with Jesus. You see, the master in the story represents Jesus, and the servants represents us, the followers, Christians. And Jesus has entrusted us with things in our lives, and what are we going to do with it? Are we going to use it, or are we going to hide it? And so today I want to kind of dive into the topic of what God has given us, specifically what God has given us in the terms of gifts. You see, we are all given gifts in our lives. And how are we going to use those gifts for Jesus? How are we going to use those gifts for His glory? Because at the end of the day, I truly believe that everyone and anyone can use what God gave them for Jesus, for His glory. And so we're going to dive right into it today. And I have 3 points, 3 simple points and just tips on how we can use our gifts for His glory. If someone's ready, say, "I'm ready." Awesome, here we go. The first point and the first tip on how to use our gifts for His glory is simply we have to find our gift. So find your gift. A lot of times people think, "You know what, Logan, I don't have a gift." Because a lot of times we associate gifts with just talents. We think, man, if I can't sing, if I can't draw good, if I can't, cook, right? If I don't have any of these talents, that means I don't have any gifts. But you guys are wrong. I'm sorry. The gifts aren't just limited to talents. Gifts can be even as simple as characteristics, as traits that you have. To me, gifts are just things that make you who you are, things that makes you distinctive. And I like to word it as we have to find our gifts because we have to understand that we have gifts. We just have to find it. We just have to look for it. We don't have to create it. We don't have to figure it out. We have it. It's in us already. We just have to find it. We just have to seek it. And again, gifts can just be traits, can be characteristics. A lot of times people don't understand that a gift can be as simple as someone who's always positive, someone that can always see the glass half full. A gift can be someone who's always encouraging to someone. To me, one of my gifts I feel that I have is that I have a gift to be goofy, to be funny, to be weird, and just to make people laugh. I don't have that many gifts that's like talent, right? You know, if you ask me to draw, I'm not the best, all right? I'll give you a couple of stick figures, but nothing else. If you ask me to cook, I can make you a mean cereal. That's it. Just a cereal or even toast, all right? But that's not my gifts, right? But one gift that I have is my humor. And that's what I feel like I bring to the table. And so you guys may feel like, Logan, I may not have talents, but hey, you guys have gifts. What are your traits? What are your characteristics? And hey, even you guys do have some talents. You just have to find it. All right? Find your gift. That's the first part into really showing God His glory. You got to first find your gift. All right? The second point is this. Fuel your purpose. Once you find what your gift is, use that gift to fuel your purpose. And as Christians, we all have the same purpose. And that is to make Jesus known, to make Him famous, to populate heaven, to have someone experience God's love. That's all of our purpose as Christians. And so let's use those gifts for that purpose. Let's use those gifts to fuel that purpose. Think about, okay, you know, if your gift is encouraging people, okay, how can I use that gift of encouragement for Jesus? And be creative about it. You can use it to maybe, you know, film an encouraging message and send it to someone, right? Have someone experience Jesus through encouraging words. If you have a gift to sing, you know, maybe you can join a worship team or worship on a stage and lead people into God's praises, right? We can use our gifts for many ways and many ways that can lead to our purpose. Again, use our gifts to fuel our purpose. There's a big difference between fueling our potential and fueling our purpose. See, when I think about fueling our potential, I really think about it's more of a me thing. Like, for example, if I'm an artist, if I love to draw, if I have a passion to paint or to make graphics, if I focus on my potential, I might ask or might tell myself like, okay, how can I make money off of this? How can I make my own business? How can I make myself famous? How can I reach my potential? Right? I mean, it's not a bad thing to do that. But rather than, you know, start off with our potential, again, let's focus on our purpose first. So maybe I might be like, hey, you know what? How can I use my gift of art and painting and drawing to maybe create an inspiring art that when people look at it, they think of Jesus, or they become inspired to maybe seek Him. All right, again, let's fuel our purpose using our gifts. And last but not least, my third tip on how to use our gifts for His glory is simply this. Focus on your own race. In other words, don't compare yourself. A lot of times, I mean, even as humans, we just have the natural instinct to compare, right? But the thing is, when we're doing God's work, we can't compare, because God has given us certain gifts and abilities that only we can do. For example, in the parable, the servant with the 5 bags made 5 more. And the master said, well done. He was happy with that. But at the same time, he was also happy with the servant who had 2 bags and made 2 more. He didn't look at the 2-bag servant and said, oh, the other servant made 5 more. Like, how come you didn't make as much as he did? No, he didn't do that because he was measuring the success off what they were given. And just like the master and the servants, that's what God does to us. God measures our success based on what He's given us, right? He's not going to measure my success off of someone else's success. If God has given me the gift to draw or to make art, He's not going to be mad if I'm not on the worship team singing, because that's not my gift. That's not who I was meant to be. Same thing, the guy on the worship team, if he doesn't have a gift of being funny and having humor, he's not gonna be mad if he doesn't connect people through jokes and through comedy, because that's not what he was made for. And so we can't compare ourselves to anyone else around us, because again, everyone has different gifts, and we have our own gifts that God has placed in us. And so I encourage you guys today, just run your own race. Do with what God has given you, right? God has given you certain gifts, so you just use those gifts. Focus on using those gifts to the best of your ability for Jesus, and that's all God asks for. It's just to use what He has given us for Him, for His glory. Okay, just to wrap it up today, I love this parable because the parable ends with the master being pleased with the servants who did things with what they were given with. He was pleased with the servant with the 5 bags. He was pleased with the servant with the 2 bags. And I love, he says the same thing to both of them. He says, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And I truly believe that that's going to be the reaction that God gives us if we use what He's given us for His glory. And I hope that we are all striving for a well done. That we're all striving for that day, when it's our time, that we see Jesus and He asks us, "Hey, this is what I've given you. This is the gifts I've given you. What have you done with it?" And I hope and I pray that I can just explain all the things I've done with what He's given to me. All the talents, all the traits, all the characteristics, all the gifts He's given me. I hope that I can say, "Hey, I used all of this for you, Jesus, and for your kingdom, and just to make you famous." And I hope that I hear Him say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." So right now, I just encourage you guys today to use what God has given you, to use your gifts for His glory. Find your gift, find what makes you you. Use that gift to fuel your purpose, and just to remember to run your own race. Don't compare yourself to anyone else's success. Just use what God has given you. Let's make Him famous through what He's given us. Let's use our gifts for His glory, so that one day we can all hear that, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Well called ministry. You guys can close your eyes, bow your heads, as your house party leader closes you out in prayer.